Good Monday evening, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Mark Henderson here, live from the Weather Hub, as we are now in round, depending on where you live, round 2 or 3 of thunderstorms that have swept through the region here over the course of this Monday. First round came around right around the midday hour here. Another round late afternoon, very early evening, and now a third and perhaps best organized round working through the region here right now. Let's show you the radar picture right now and get you up to speed with all of our latest watches and warnings. Severe thunderstorm watch will continue here until 8 o'clock tonight for all of northern Illinois. Does not include our southern Wisconsin counties just yet. As far as the warnings go, let's widen the view here so you can get an impression of what we've got going on. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning that's going to go until about 6:45. That's for Stevenson County, eastern Carroll County, although you likely will be dropped from this warning here shortly. Also, northeastern portions of Whiteside County. Now, earlier on, we did have a severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect for western portions of Ogle County. That was allowed to expire here at about 6:30 this evening. So certainly at least some improvement in that department. But these storms are now entering Winnebago County. You'll notice no warnings for Winnebago County just yet. Why don't we take the graphics here full screen and take a look at what is going on right now with the radar picture. Excuse me. Line of storms capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour winds, maybe some nickel-sized hail. Right now stretches from just south of Monroe to just east of Freeport, straddling right along the Winnebago-Stevenson County line. In fact, where we start to see some of this curvature taking place here in western Winnebago County, that is where we do have the potential of some of the gustier winds here. So over toward Pecatonica, that is an area of potential concern. And then that stretches back southward through Stillman Valley, Byron, Mount Morris, and Oregon, and then farther southwestward down toward Polo as well. We'll also watch out for western portions of Lee County as this secondary little cluster of storms exits Whiteside County and is about ready to enter western Lee County. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for Whiteside County that's going to go for just a little bit longer here, probably another 10 minutes or thereabouts. As far as the track of this storm, let's give you an idea of where this line of storms is headed. Polo, we're looking at the impact having occurred, the main impact having occurred about 8 minutes ago. But Oregon, we're looking at an impact here just about right now or within the next 5 minutes time. Loves Park, we can expect an arrival around 6:48. 6:50 for us here in McChesney Park. Up in Rockton, we're at 6:51. 6:54 for South Beloit, 6:55 in Beloit, and a little bit after 7 o'clock here in Belvedere. Obviously, we're very sensitive to the goings on in Belvedere here because of what occurred here just recently. So certainly something that we will want to keep a very, very close eye out for as we move forward. So that's where the storms are right now. That's where the storms are going here. These aren't particularly strong thunderstorms from a hail standpoint, but I do certainly believe that these are going to be capable of producing some very, very gusty winds and some torrentially heavy rainfall here. And again, that was the storm track here that we just drew with that particular storm that's presently exiting Stevenson County and entering Winnebago County. So here in the city of Rockford, again, we're probably looking at somewhere close to around 6:47, 6:48 in downtown. 6:46 is what our radar algorithm is suggesting. Again, there are some of the towns in the path of the storm. Oregon, we're looking at a near imminent impact within a matter of just minutes. Rockford, just after 6:45. Loves Park and McChesney Park will follow very shortly thereafter. And then in the village of Rockton, where I do think we've got a flood concern really beginning to mount, that is going to be something that we're watching out for. This has been an area that has been really hammered by persistent heavy rainfall, unrelenting rainfall for the last hour and a half or so. We've seen reports of up to 2 inches of rain for the day. About an inch of that has come within just the last hour. So these are very efficient rainfall producers, especially in the northern portions of Winnebago and Boone County. So that would be Roscoe, Rockton, South Beloit, and then into generally unpopulated portions of Boone County, although I would certainly think that maybe Poplar Grove, you may have been on the receiving end of some of the heavier rainfall. Now, the good news is no new severe thunderstorm warnings have been issued by the National Weather Service here recently. We do still have the severe thunderstorm warning that's going to go for Stevenson County. Officially, that goes until 6:45. I would suspect that with the heaviest part of the thunderstorm likely to exit a little bit before then, that storm may be allowed to expire just a little bit later. So that's what's going on right now. Why don't we take a look right now at what's expected here over the course of the next several hours through the eyes of our high resolution forecast models? Here we are. This is, let's see here. This was 5 o'clock with that first round of storms that had moved through the region. The second round, which lined up here right about 6 o'clock, entering Stevenson County at that point in time. Here we are at 7 o'clock. So the model may actually be a little bit slow with this particular evolution. So we may want to bump this up by a half hour. So let's say 6:30 is where this is. This is where how things will look around 7:30 or thereabouts, with this line quickly pushing out. But here's what I want you to watch out for. Look off to the left-hand side of your screen. There are more storms that will attempt to fire off to the west. Question is, will they fill back in, as was indicated by previous models, which really emphasize or perhaps reinvigorate the concern about flooding, or will they be more isolated in nature? Latest model runs show a much more encouraging picture. If this is and ends up being the case, this would be very, very good news, which would greatly limit the amount of widespread flooding that does take place. So if we can shut this all off by midnight, that's kind of the best case scenario. That's the scenario being portrayed, at least for now, by our latest high resolution precision cast model. That said, we are still going to have to very closely watch this situation as it continues to unfold. Again, right now we are not seeing any new severe thunderstorm warnings issued in the Rockford area or Winnebago County. No new warnings have come in Ogle County. These storms still are going to be packing at least a little bit of a punch, so I wouldn't necessarily treat these any less importantly. I certainly would give these the respect they deserve. And at the very, very least, we are looking at the possibility of some rather significant flooding, especially in the far northern portions of Winnebago and Boone County. These are kind of the areas that have been hit over and over and over again for the last several hours. Go down farther south, where we didn't get much from the first round earlier on this afternoon. The concern for flooding is considerably lower, but we are going to continue to watch closely possibilities of some flash flooding that may continue to take place over the next several hours. In fact, the Weather Prediction Center has outlined the entire area for the possibility of some widespread flooding. As we widen the view, you see that little outline, the green outlined area. These are areas that are being outlooked for the possibility of some very, very heavy rainfall. It's not necessarily going to mean that there's going to be flooding everywhere in that green shaded and outlined area. It means, though, that the atmosphere is so laden with moisture and these storms may continue to backbuild that we have to at least watch out for the possibility of flooding, especially in the areas that were hardest hit by earlier storms and are now being repeatedly hit by these new storms that we've seen over the course of the past several moments. As for the severe weather risk, it does remain at a level 2 out of 5, slight risk for Rockford and points southeast. That does not include, so the severe weather threat really does appear to be calming down. I'd be more concerned about a severe weather threat from southern Winnebago County and through Ogle County and Lee County, and then certainly DeKalb County, where we did have severe thunderstorm warnings earlier on this afternoon and now into the early evening hours. But the severe weather threat looks like it's going down just a little bit. That said, these storms still will have the capability of producing gusty winds up to 60, maybe 70 miles per hour. Little bit of hail, although that is a secondary concern. And the tornado threat overall, very, very low. Can't rule it out, but I think that's a very, very small threat at this stage in the game. So that's the severe weather threat right now. I will turn on the storm track here and we'll talk about more towns that are in the path of this storm as we go through the next several moments. In fact, here's the last the last estimate that we had, again, 6:46, so about 5 minutes now from the city of Rockford, west side of Rockford. So if you're out toward Meridian Road, you're experiencing the worst of the storm right now. Downtown Rockford, you got probably about 5 minutes. East side, you got maybe 10 minutes until it gets there. Basically, the Route 251, Route 2 corridors, you're looking at 648 to 650. Basically, now Rockton, it says 651. That's for the main line of storms that we see right now working into central portions of Winnebago County. Obviously, it is still raining very heavily up in Rockton, but that line of storms and perhaps the gusty wind threat will more likely come by the time we get closer to about 651. Let's see, Cherry Valley, we're looking at maybe 652, 653. So you got about 10 minutes to prepare. Belvedere looks like about 703 when this storm, 703, 704, depending on your location. Up toward Poplar Grove, I would say you're looking at probably closer to 706. And then as you go farther east, let's say towards Marengo, you're looking more along the lines of 715 to 720 or thereabouts. Here we are in Byron, where the main impact is pretty much behind us. Let's go farther east over toward Monroe Center, where we could expect an impact sometime closer to around 652 or thereabouts. And then into northern portions of DeKalb County, Genoa, you're looking at about 715. Fairdale, Kirkland, somewhere in the neighborhood of 704 to 710 or thereabouts. Beloit, you're still looking at about 655. Then heading eastward towards Clinton, probably closer to around 703, 704. Again, though, what's important to note is that right now, these storms are not presently severe. And that is certainly some of the best news that we can really talk about here, at least at this stage in the game. So that is some good news, to say the very least. Let's turn off our telestration tool and let's widen the view for us here, and we can talk about some of the other storms that are taking place. Now, we do see some storms that are firing farther off to the west, and this is what has concerned me a little bit from the flooding standpoint. If we get this to fill in, and I know our high resolution precision cast said that wasn't necessarily going to be the case, if these do fill in, we could see these affect the same areas over and over and over again. And it's that backbuilding that gives me the concern about the flash flooding. Not to say that that is guaranteed to be happening, but it is at least a possibility that we have to monitor, to say the very least. The wider view right now shows more storms, much weaker storms, farther to the north and west across southern and southwestern Wisconsin, eastern and northeastern portions of Iowa. What I'm going to do now as we zoom back in is I'm going to change the radar site over from the Quad Cities radar, and I'm going to go over to the Milwaukee radar, because these storms are now starting to get a little bit closer to the Milwaukee radar and moving farther away from the Quad Cities radar. Just want to look and see if we see any sort of a rotation with these. Now, overall, I don't suspect there to be much of a concern from that particular standpoint. As you've seen, the severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect for, what was it? Was it for Stevenson County? That has since been allowed to expire. So no warnings here in our immediate area. So certainly some good news. But this is taking on a really nice bowing structure. And whenever we see kind of that very pronounced curvature here, you kind of see how that looks. It just looks like a bow. Anytime we see something like that well defined, really makes us believe that we have a somewhat significant wind concern on our hand. And so that is going to be still something we'll have to watch out for. Again, we haven't had any reports of any gusty winds that have met severe weather criteria. You got to get them up to 80 or 58 miles per hour for these to be considered severe. And I'm guessing it's the lack of reports that has basically allowed the National Weather Service to say, hey, we're not going to issue any warnings, at least at this particular point in time. So, some good news from that particular standpoint. I do want to go through here while I leave the radar up here and just see, going through the comments here on YouTube Live here. Again, eventually the goal here is to be doing this on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. But YouTube is kind of the only way that we can do this, at least at this point in time. Luke has asked, is that Boeing echo starting to form? Absolutely. This is a pretty classic Bow echo here. We haven't yet seen too many severe weather reports evident or that have indicated there's been any sort of damaging winds from this. So that's probably why we don't have warnings at this point in time. But it is still something that's going to be very much worth us keeping attention on. The storm chasers were on their way here to Rockford to track this one. I would imagine they're talking about maybe the Reed Timmers or some of the kind of the amateur or the hobbyist storm chasers, or maybe some of the TV crews here as well. But no, this is not a high-end severe weather situation, so not much to chase here, Lucas. And especially, once you talk about flooding concerns, it's one of those things you just don't want to mess around with. There's a lot of ponding on the roadways. I was out on the roads just a few moments ago up in Rockton, and there's a lot of standing water on the roads already. And you don't want to run into an instance where you're encountering standing roads. It's a very dangerous proposition. So, Viking Moon's wondering if our storms behind this line going to develop more. That's kind of the $1 million question here, Viking Moon. We think it's possible that these storms could continue to develop here farther off to the west. Not a done deal though just yet. So we'll just have to watch out for, because that is going to lead to a higher flooding concern should additional storms fire off to the west, which has been indicated by some models that it would be the case, but not by all. And as I showed our most recent precision cast model, it does suggest that not much more development will take place. These models are not always right, though. Let's be abundantly clear about that. We're going to draw here some of the storm cells as well, talk about where some of the strongest parts of these particular storms are. So one of the stronger portions of the storm is just to the west of Beloit. That part of the storm is moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Could have a little bit of hail here. Far northeastern Winnebago County, moving east at about 30 miles per hour, maybe not as strong. Here's in western Winnebago County, so this is out toward Durand. I suspect this was from a little earlier on. Right now, over the Rockford area, the storm is basically at its strongest on the north side of Rockford, so basically right into maybe right on the Loves Park Rockford city line or city boundary. And farther to the south here, out toward the Chicago Rockford International Airport, 54 dBZs. That's the intensity of the radar echo. That's pretty good. Usually you want to see 60 or so for these storms to be on the stronger to more severe side. So I don't think we're quite there. And again, I'm not arguing that whatsoever. As we go farther south into Ogle County, storm does look to be a little bit weaker, and picks up in intensity a little bit more as you go down into south central portions of Lee County. That perhaps is the strongest part of this line of storms. An additional little cell here has popped out ahead of the main line in DeKalb County, just to the north of the city of DeKalb. And anytime you see these individual cells out ahead of the main line, those are the ones that get a little worrisome. Those are the ones we sometimes worry about as potentially having some rotational characteristics. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn on Chicago's radar here, because that storm is closest to the Chicago radar beam. And let's just take a look at that cell and see if we see any signs of any rotational characteristics. And right now, nothing that really excites me all that much. So there's some decent news, at least on that front. So it looks pretty poorly organized at this stage in the game. So that's certainly some good news. Stronger storms starting to kick up here in northern Boone County, an additional one right along the McHenry and Walworth County lines. Those obviously moving away from our immediate area. Let's take a look at the storm that's out towards Stockton. Not really even a strong storm, certainly not a severe storm. So I think once these move through, our severe weather threat for the night should be generally extinguished. The severe thunderstorm watch officially goes until 8 o'clock, and I think that's a pretty reasonable expiration time for that severe thunderstorm watch. I think as you go out towards Stevenson and Joe Davis County, the atmosphere is just so worked over. There's not going to be any additional severe weather development. We just don't have the instability in the atmosphere to allow these storms to regenerate in any meaningful way that we'd be talking about a significant severe weather concern. So, good news from that standpoint. But I really do want to watch this area very closely in southwestern Wisconsin, far northwestern Illinois. If this fills in, this is where we run into some problems here with the possibility of some very heavy rainfall and some flash flooding. Right now, 1 to 2 inches of rain have come down in the hardest hit regions. That's again mainly in northern Winnebago County. So we're talking Roscoe, Rockton, South Beloit. Uh, and if we get, another 1, 2 inches, that's not entirely out of the question. So that is something that we're going to have to watch out for keenly in the coming moments and hours. A lot of powerful cloud to ground lightning. Lucas chimes in. Appreciate that report. And yeah, these have been prolific lightning producers. A lot of thunder here. The dog has not been a big fan. He's sitting right here at my feet. Not a fan of the storms whatsoever. Terry, my pleasure here. Amanda, the Huntley area. Let's take a look here at Huntley. That's closer in towards Kane County and McHenry County. Huntley, you are clear for the foreseeable future. I think that you could expect these storms sometime in the neighborhood of, let's say, 7:45 or thereabouts. Overall, though, the severe weather threat may pick up a little bit there because the atmosphere hasn't been worked over as much, and so these storms are going to be heading into a more favorable environment. So that's at least something to watch out for. But at least at this stage in the game, we don't have any sort of imminent concerns in Huntley. Alexa reporting heavy rain and gusty winds, Auburn and Meridian. Alexa, thank you for that report. Raise a banner. Thank you for the kind words as well. Let's see here. Other Northwest Rockford has chimed in. Let's see what else we got here. We have reports of rain by the airport. Sarah, I appreciate the kind words. We appreciate you checking things out here. Same story, Sue. I appreciate you joining us here as well. Diane, thank you for your report from Byron. Axe 412 reporting thunder, rain, and gusty winds in Davis Junction. Marissa, the flooding situation over toward Wheaton, is it Wheaton or Wheat Thin? Anyways, flooding concerns in Wheaton, at least at this point in time, appear to be relatively minor. Not too much rain has come up to this point in time. You'll get a little more that follows here later on tonight, but no imminent flooding threat down there. Let's see here. Thanks for all the reports from the southeast side of Rockford, south side of Rockford, from Chesney Park, near Harlem High School, raining very heavily. Lucy reporting heavy rain just south of Rockton. And the heavy downpours just stopped up toward Broadhead. Now just some light rain. Caledonia, no rain for you yet. That rain here coming very, very soon. Caledonia, I would suspect sometime probably within the next 10 to 15 minutes or thereabouts. It's not going to be long here. Some gustier thunderstorms just to the north of Poplar Grove right now. But the main line here still moving in about 10-15 minutes here from right now. Again, no severe thunderstorm warnings at this point in time. Severe thunderstorm watch will go until 8 o'clock tonight. And again, the storms that are building off to the west. Now we're starting to see some of that back building taking place in eastern Iowa. That's what worries me. And that's really the big thing that I do have concerns about here from a flooding standpoint somewhere in northern Illinois. And that might be right along that Highway 20 corridor just to the north. There is a flood watch in effect here until 4 o'clock in the morning, just to account for the fact that we've gotten a ton of rain already and still more on the way. And again, I'd be particularly concerned about the northern quarter to the northern third of Winnebago County. So if you are north of 173, that's going to be the area of greatest concern. Basically from Chesney Park to the Wisconsin border. That's where we picked up the heaviest rain earlier on today. Had that second line come through 4:30, 5 o'clock. or thereabouts. And now, obviously, this third line and just the steady, moderate to heavy rain that has continued, especially along the Route 75 corridor for the past. Uh, for the past couple of hours. Just did get an alert about a flash flood warning. And let's see if we can turn on the flash flood warnings. That just did come out. Yes. So this is exactly where I said we had the concerns for flooding, basically along the north of Route 173. It's almost like the folks at the National Weather Service are listening to this here broadcast. This is going to go for 153 minutes, which would be 2.5 hours. So that's going to put us up at about 9:30 here tonight. So flash flood warning issued for northern Winnebago County and northern Boone County. That's going to go until 9:30 tonight. So that is the area highlighted or outlined in that very bright green where we have the flash flood concerns. That's where the heaviest of the rain has occurred up until this point. Let's see if I can get some of the text from the National Weather Service just to pass along for you. We do actually have a flash flood warning down in Lee and southern DeKalb counties as well. Let's widen the view here and show that if we can. That has come out fairly recently, and there's a considerable threat. That's something that's stronger verbiage here, suggesting that there might be, So there's a flash flood warning in northern Winnebago County. That's kind of like a slightly stronger worded flash flood warning. So for southern Lee and DeKalb County. So we're going to read the text on both of these here as well. That flash flood warning here is going to go until 9 o'clock. Significant flash flooding. Doppler radar, and I'm talking about right now Lee and DeKalb County. Doppler radar and automated rain gauges have indicated that thunderstorms producing heavy rain had been raining at 2 to 3 inches per hour. 5.5 inches has fallen so far near Paw Paw. And additional waves of heavy rainfall moving into the area with another inch per hour possible over the next hour. So significant flash flooding possible southeastern Lee County and southern portions of DeKalb County. So we're talking Shabana, Waterman, Paw Paw, Sublette, over Woodhaven Lakes, the town of Lee, Compton, and West Brooklyn. If you are in these areas and you encounter flooded roadways, or just if you see standing water, turn around, don't drown. Most deaths from flooding occur in vehicles. So people think that they can get through the flood waters. It's just not the case. It's just not the case. All right, let's go up to Winnebago and Boone County. Let's talk about the flash flooding there. This is the word from the National Weather Service here. Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the entirety of that area. Between an inch and a half of rain has already fallen. Additional 1 to 2.5 inch rain totals are possible in that warned area. Flash flooding is ongoing in that warned area or expected to begin here very, very shortly. So what kind of impacts can we expect within these flash flood warnings? The rapid onset of flooding of creeks and streams and drainage ditches. Streets will become impassable, especially the overpasses and viaducts, any low-lying areas. I know we've got a lot of standing water in our front yard here, and really any poor drainage areas. So this includes McChesney Park, Roscoe, South Beloit, Rockton. This does also include Lake Somerset and Durand, and then the smaller communities of Harrison and Sherland. So again, if you're anywhere near these creeks or drainage ditches or any other waterways, take the appropriate precautions here as flash flooding is occurring or is going to become a significant problem. So that flash flood warning will go until 9 o'clock for southern portions of Lee County and also southern portions of DeKalb County. That does not include the city of DeKalb. And then until 9:30, the flash flood warning will continue here in the northern third or so of Winnebago County and northwestern portions of Boone County. But aside from that, there are no severe thunderstorm warnings in play right now. What we will be watching very closely here on the radar over the course of the next several hours will be the additional thunderstorms that we see now inching toward Freeport and then building all the way back into eastern portions of Iowa and maybe even central Iowa. This is going to be the area that we're going to have to watch very, very closely over the course of the next several hours. Does this continue to build backward? Does this fill in even a little more? Does this continue to move into those same areas that have already been affected by the flash flooding? Those are our main questions over the next several hours' time. That's what we're going to need to pay close attention to over the course of the next few hours, and we'll be doing just that. But with that said, we're going to bring this broadcast to a close here. I will go through and just cycle through any other questions that you may have here. Southeast Rockford got a little bit of rain, nothing now, a little thunder, no fanfare there. Hey, that's good news. That's certainly good news. Again, in the city of Rockford, this is a brief storm, in and out in no time, and thankfully not severe, which is what we want to see. And there was no severe thunderstorm warning for Winnebago County, and so does not come as any surprise. Stillman Valley, I think you are just about done with the heavy rain for now. We'll have to watch closely here for maybe some of that redevelopment off to the west. We'll kind of wait and see how that's going to go. Aldo and Jewel, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's see here. I think that has us pretty much caught up. I appreciate all your reports here. Joseph saying his backyard is super flooded in Rockton. Not surprised. I am up in Rockton myself, and the rain has been very, very heavy up here. So this is going to be one of the communities I think that's going to be hardest hit by the flooding. So that is something. This is going to be a community that we're going to be watching very closely over the next several hours' time. So that's what we've got here for now. We are going to end our live broadcast, at least for now. We'll hop back on if there are any new warnings that are issued here over the course of the next several moments or hours. And if we do get any new information on the flash flooding situation, might take a ride out there and just see what things look like here. Once the rain comes to a bit more of an end, we get a little break here in the Rockton area as well. But that is going to do it for now. Always a pleasure here to be here. Thank you so much to so many of you who have joined us. Again, we're doing these live on YouTube. Eventually, the goal here is to be able to do this live on YouTube and Facebook. We're getting there. We're still kind of building this out here, so might take a little time for us to master the technology and get all the stuff that we need in place. But we will certainly hope to do so soon. But I do appreciate you joining us here on YouTube Live, and we'll continue to update you as this progresses. Thanks so much for being with us, and take care, and please, by all means, stay safe.